Meditation is like breathing. It's like breathing in and feeling the air move all the way down and feeling how the oxygen moves through your body as you breathe out. It's looking at your surroundings and noticing what is moving and shaking and hearing the cars pass by or the rain drop and just being very aware of everything that is happening without judging it or without having to make mental statements or, oh, this car is disturbing me, or, oh, the weather is so terrible today, but it just is. And it allows you to just be. It makes me feel like every little thing has meaning. Like every little movement, every sensation, every breath, every sound, every flavor, everything has meaning, and I learn to appreciate them much more deeply rather than let them pass me by. The first time I consciously meditated was about 3 years ago almost, when first the quarantine started and there was a lot going on, and there wasn't really anywhere to go. I was physically very confined into a space, and so meditation was a way for me to create spaciousness in order to better cope with all of the emotions and all of the tensions that were building up and then didn't really have a lot of options to catalyze them into other directions. It was a very surreal time, and to create that spaciousness for all of one's emotions and all of one's frustrations, and also the parts of oneself that don't really understand or don't really want to comply with the current reality. It was a way to escape that reality almost, and to just create a timelessness in my little bubble of my bedroom. There was just spaciousness and timelessness, and I could just be, and it didn't matter that the world was essentially on fire and going down, because in that bubble I was safe and I was okay.
My name is Gil Levis. I am a holistic therapist and also a sound engineer. And I give myself the title of Sonic Alchemist because I create like this way of working with sound as a medicine for people to come back to their center. I started to be a therapist because, like just I said, like I felt very disconnected from what I was feeling internally and seeing internally with while my environment was portraying itself actually, or the reality. And when I started to dive deep into myself and like really found this common ground within my versions of myself, I started to see that I thought I was the only one dealing with certain things, but then I start to listen to what my friends were actually saying when they were complaining or just mad about something. And I was like, hey, I have that same thing as well, but totally on a different, unique part, but it's the same type of issue. And then I started to see that many people in my surroundings were dealing with depression or suicidal thoughts or just panic attacks or anything. And I was like, whoa, the common thing that we all have is that we keep pushing ourselves to go on, and we don't take that rest. And then I saw like these, how do you call it? Like these let's call it like loopholes that I saw for myself, but I saw that no one else was seeing it. And I was like, hey, I found my own escape from this loophole. That probably means that I can do something with it that helps other people as well. So for me, from a young age, I was already like, of always asking my mom and my parents, like, why do we call this a plant and not a tree or a pencil? Like, who decided that the things are what they are? And for me, sometimes when people would say certain words, the how do you call it? The interpretation was different for me, or when I would say a word, the interpretation for that person would be different from what I meant. So I really started to see this distorted way of speaking, because sometimes I can say like, maybe this is for me it's blue, but you feel like it's green. So it's very subjective. And I feel like when you work with sound, it's still subjective, but we all can relate to the same feeling without giving it words. So when I was in my therapy as well, my therapist would then say things to me or ask me things from something that I told her that happened. And I would then be like so offended or hurt, because then because she asked the thing in that specific wording, I felt like, hey, you're not listening to what I'm saying, or you're not getting what I'm trying to say. And then for myself, when I was then later at home, I would just listen to music and just do my thing. And I would feel like that feeling of misunderstood, or that feeling like, okay, I don't know how to tell things to people, would start to go away, because that sound was actually helping me to process that feeling. Meditation for me is a practice or a state of being where I connect to myself first and try to get into the state of observance and no force. So that's what meditation is for me. And that can be many different outlets as well. It could be like just sitting in silence and just being observant of myself and what's happening inside, or it could be the same thing, but then being very outwardly active, like what's happening in my surroundings, where can I find stillness, where can I find like this flow of things that I hear that can help me to regulate my emotions or my feelings. Or it could be dancing, or it could be singing. So it's like a very wide outlet of what it could be. When I think around 16, 17, I was like very intrigued by the practice as well, but more from a metaphysical or like spiritual side. And I thought like, oh, this is very interesting. But at the time then, my personal state of being, like, or my mindset wasn't compatible with like just sitting still, and I was very skeptical of it. And then later, when I really had like my depressive episodes, I started to reconnect with meditation as well. So I think that was when I was 21 or something. Then I really could find my own unique way to really get into that meditative state as well. I think before I started to do meditation, I felt the need to react to everything and express it to myself, to anything, which makes you constantly active or constantly like switched on, let me put it like that. And that's not a bad thing in itself, but if you're constantly switched on, then it's really starts to get a lot, like all the information that comes in. And when I start to do the meditation, I feel like it helps to really organize what's going on. So for my day out, I don't start with meditation per se, but maybe throughout the day I feel like, okay, now I'm getting like really active in my mind and I can't focus on one thing anymore. Let me just put in a pause, and I just start to breathe, hold my breath for a second, and just slowly breathe out. And then I can feel in myself, okay, what do I need right now? And that's like also part of meditation, to understand, to listen what your body is giving you as an answer.
Yeah, it has been really helpful as well to have a mentor or a coach. I don't know what I would call her, but to have Gail as well to guide me and help me get in that deep space and allow those emotions and layers to arise. I don't need it. It was like I did 2 years of meditations without it, but then I reached a level where I felt I wanted to go even deeper, and I wanted to kind of accelerate again, because I think when you first start, you get a lot of growth really fast and you see a lot of progress really fast and you're like, oh my God, it's this whole world, And at one point I felt myself like stagnating a bit. I'm like, oh, I already know this. And I felt like my meditations at home weren't really getting as deep as they used to as well. And so it was really amazing to discover the sound surface and to find that can be a setting in which you can allow yourself to surrender even more deeply, and these different tools that can help you to visualize more deeply and explore yourself more deeply.
I applied for this course to be a sound engineer, like mixing and mastering and everything. And from that study, actually, I really dived into sacred geometry and sound healing and all those things. And I saw that, like, actually, all feelings are correlated to a sound or a tone. And when you hit that tone or give people that sound, they can resonate to that. And resonation actually means going with the flow. So it helps to release the tension that you have on that emotion as well. So for me, I put two and two together. I was like, hey, that's actually a really good and open way to start having conversations with people when you just don't necessarily talk, but you can sit with each other in a space and listen to music, and then afterwards you can relay what you felt. Mainly, when I work with my clients, I only do things with them that I have experienced myself. So I try to portray the practice that we do as something that they need to find their own unique way with it, because this is also just my way for myself, but I just try to give them that openness to discover how it is. So first we just do it without having any expectation of it. And then afterwards I probably ask them like, okay, what do you notice about yourself right now? Or what were you seeing? And for the first time, it's like, I don't know, maybe can you help me? Like, I don't know what I saw, because it's very new for a lot of people. But then you then later guide them into realizing what their ego mind is actually doing, because they do see everything or hear everything, but they try to judge it. And because of the judgment, people don't openly or authentically speak of what they feel. So that's the first thing for people to realize, is that they keep on judging themselves. So when I try to help them with that, I just put on some music as well and just tell them to like be in the center of it. Just don't try to judge. And then when they actually finally let go of that judgment, then everything just opens up and they just express themselves. I think that if someone is interested or has like this question about meditation, just go and observe or like discover it, because like it's such a wide topic and it has so many different outlets as well. I just would say like grab something that really resonates to you or just interests your mind, and just go dive deep in it, because I think there's so much information to find about it as well. It would be such a waste if you don't give yourself that opportunity to discover it. So yeah, that would be my advice. And come to one of my sessions just to like experience it. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, it would be nice to inspire as many people as possible to connect with themselves on a deeper level and to learn to appreciate even the smallest things in life. And I think that meditation is a really great tool to do so. Thank you.